I was just sitting here thinking about things that I used to believe that were such a part of me that it's like they controlled my life. The kicker is I didn't know I believed them. I didn't know that they were what was propelling me forward in life and why I did things the way I did them. One of those things that I was just considering was that the busier I was for God, the better. The more things I did for Him, the more He was pleased with me. And it was like, using your talents and never say no and show up every time the door's opened and do all the things that you do. Now, some of that is you're on staff at a church, and so you do part of that. That's part of your job. But I also had this drive in me to matter. I think at the time I lived my life believing that we were human doings and not human beings. I had not believed from my earliest childhood that I was important just for being. I had somehow picked up and internalized that my importance was based on doing and doing things right for the kingdom. There's a fabulous scripture in Matthew where Jesus said, "Come to me, everyone who labors, who's heavy laden. I'll give you rest." He says that His yoke is easy and His burden is light. See, God doesn't have any workhorses in the kingdom. He doesn't have slaves. He has children, sons and daughters, and that's it. And He doesn't value us because of what we do. He values us simply because we are, because He loves us. And when we get in touch, not with I need to matter by doing, but I do matter because I am His, and that's all that makes me matter. When we get in touch with that and we fellowship that intimacy and we fellowship that love with the Father, then it's easy to do things. And I find that I do a lot of things in the kingdom, but I'm no longer worn out from it. I'm no longer full of anxiety and stress. You see, at about 39, I started having textbook panic disorder and anxiety attacks. I didn't know that I had depleted my emotional reserve by 39. And it was during that time that a wise friend instructed me to begin to seek the Lord each time those panic attacks would come. I would think I was dying. It was a horrible feeling. And as I began to invite the Lord into each one of those, and I began to ask Him what it was I needed to know, He would often instruct me just to be. He once spoke to me during that season, "Sherry, I have a nickname for you, and that name is Delight." Do you know the Father has a nickname for you today? And it's not based on how much you do. It's based on you just being His. He loves you so much. The busier you are does not mean the more spiritual you are. Often the busier you are, the further you are from intimacy with the Father. It is in your rest that often our awareness of the Father is expanded. The expansion of knowing the Father is done through rest, resting in Him, and just following Him. Picture yourself today doing this, sitting on the Father's lap. I do that often. When myself gets in the way and I think, there's too much to do, and I want to plan all this stuff out, and it is overwhelming. I have a tendency to rush toward trying to do it all. And then I get overwhelmed. And when those days come, I picture myself in the Father's lap, just being held by Him. And I just say, Papa God, what do you want me to do today? You see, Romans tells me I've been adopted into his family, and that the spirit of adoption in me allows me to call him Abba. That's an Aramaic term of endearment. It's like saying daddy or papa. So sometimes that's what I call him, just me and him. Daddy God, what do you want from me today? And he'll instruct, and I go with his presence on me, with his blessing on me, instead of being driven by a need to perform. God bless you today. Find rest in him.